this point, let me just say that I realize that this video has to do with hatchet farming, okay? The community as a whole has seen this as something that is incredibly polarizing. I will say that I do not condemn nor condone hatchet farming runs of any kind to anyone. I remain Switzerland in this, and I say if the devs intend for it to be an allowable practice, that is just fine by me. At the end of it all, for the players that are present in this game that are not that skilled, you could be level 30 and just be not that good at shooters yet, right? And you're still trying to build that skill up. And maybe you don't have a 500,000 rubles to be able to buy a really, really great kit of gear and go in, if only to die. I believe that the reason why hatchet running exists is it is a way for people to, without risk, really, get up enough money to be able to afford to buy those kits of gear and get back into the fight without having to reset their account back down to base and pray that they don't die. Without this mechanic, in my opinion, it ruins the ability for people to play this game without gear fear or the fear of losing their stuff. Knowing that you have this as a fallback plan and that you can make money really quickly and really readily available to yourself, I think adds an element to the game that allows you to go and buy those kits and know that after an hour you'll be able to afford another 2 or 3. And that's why I create videos like this, because I want players that are having a hard time with being proficient and trying to learn their way through these maps to be able to have a way to utilize these guides, farm up money as quickly as humanly possible, and get back into the fight the way that they would prefer to be playing. Because I don't think anyone would just want to run around as a hatchet for the entirety of their gameplay, continuing to get shot in the back as they turn a corner by somebody that has a full kit of gear. So let's get into this. Hey guys, my name is OnePeg. For those of you that don't know, I made a video about farming customs about 3 months back. That video has gotten 6,000 views, man. First video I ever made got 6,000 views. Like, I think that's so damn cool. But it's 3 months old. There's been a lot of changes that have occurred for the customs map. We've gotten a little bit better hardware. I've gotten a little bit more experience with the game. And at least this time, I've got all the keys for the farming run itself. Well, all but one. So for the purpose of this video, what I wanted to do was revamp all of the things that I did in the 0.7 video that I made, now that we're midway through, actually almost all of the way through 0.8, in the hopes that now that the values have changed on a lot of the drops, the drop rates themselves have changed on many different things, and locations of loot have been modified on customs to where now we have additional things that we can find. It's going to modify the loot run just a little bit, because again, the idea is to make as much money in as short of an amount of time as possible so that you can get the most bang for your buck and for your time. Because really, the point of this is to get up enough money to be able to afford halfway decent gear so that you can practice your skills and get better at the game so you never have to do a hatchet run ever again. And if you hate hatchet running, you could spend a couple of extra rubles, get yourself a PM pistol, or as I refer to them, a Makarov. Get yourself a Makarov, an extra mag, and an MBSS bag, and go through the map and have something to defend yourself other than trying to hack away at somebody's face when you're out of stamina. The other thing that I'm going to do for the purpose of this video is also outline the key locations themselves and where you can find them. And along with that, I'm going to have a Google Docs spreadsheet to accompany this with time indices so that you can easily and quickly reference where to find those keys should you need to locate them. This is going to be a rather long form video. I tend to make longer form videos. I'm not doing that because I'm trying to waste everybody's time and nobody wants to filter through all of this garbage. So I want to make it quick and easy for people to be able to reference this stuff, because if the information is valuable to someone, I would rather they be able to find the piece of information that they're trying to get quickly than have to muddle through all the things that they don't want to see. So without further ado, I will get into this. So for those of you that are familiar with my Twitch content or my YouTube content, you know that I am an EOD or Edge of Darkness Edition owner of Escape from Tarkov. Now there's a lot of benefits that come with being an EOD owner, primarily inventory space. But for the purpose of this farming run, the thing that we need to pay the most attention to for being an EOD owner is the size of this pouch, this gamma container, which for those of you that don't know or unfamiliar with Tarkov as a game, it essentially means that whatever is in this container persists through death. Tarkov as a game means that if you die, people can loot anything and everything that you have, with the exception of what it is that you are holding in your melee weapon slot and whatever is in this container. People that do not own the EOD edition and have not yet completed the full quest line for Peacekeeper tend to only have an alpha container, which is a 2x2 and not a 3x3. It doesn't seem like that makes a whole lot of difference, but it does. There's a lot that can be done with an extra 6 or 5 slots of inventory space. But if you only own an alpha, it's okay. The loot run is still viable, you just may not necessarily be able to hold as much stuff, which means that you're making more trips and you're going to have to be a little bit more scrutinizing with what it is that you carry out. Until you get to the point where you have enough loot in rubles, and I would highly recommend doing this, going to the Tarkov Trade Discord or the Tarkov Trade Reddit, which I will include a link pop up somewhere in here in terms of where to go to access that information. Make sure that you tell the head of the Tarkov Trade Discord that you saw this and that you are there because of this, just so that I can keep up some good metrics with the head of that place, whose name is Paul. So go tell Paul that I said hi and that you ended up coming there because you saw this information, okay? In addition to having the EOD edition, I also purchased this game around the time that Battlestate was doing an incentive around the holidays where they offered an extra holiday gift. That extra holiday gift included an items case as well as, even more importantly, a key bar. Now the key bar, again, doesn't look like much on the surface, but it's a single slot item that contains 16 slots of keys. So you can place keys on the key bar. It's a really good way to be able to condense the inventory of keys that this would take up to be able to bring with you to make sure that you're able to unlock all of the places that I'm going to outline. Now, let's say, worst case scenario, you are not an alpha owner, or you are not an EOD owner, and you do not own a key bar, okay? And you only have this 2x2 space. And let's say that you're brand new to Tarkov and you have never attempted making a run like this before. What we're going to do is we're going to build on that, okay? You can start off doing this run without having any gear, any items, and not be an EOD owner, and you can still get things that are worth keeping and worth selling. Okay, so here we are at the inventory screen. And one of the things I want to make sure that I reiterate before we get into this is that you make sure that you bring one painkiller. As I mentioned in the last video, the last thing that you want to have happen when you're on a run like this is end up getting shot in the leg, have that leg get blacked out, and end up limping your way through the remainder of your run. I don't condone, in fact, I tend to make fun of people that disconnect from matches. So don't be one of those guys and disconnect. Finish your run, get out, try not to die on purpose, actually make an attempt. The other thing that I would mention is, as I had said prior, rather than just going in with a hatchet, should you decide that you want to go in with a pistol, backup mag, and even a backpack, I would recommend considering doing that because it's a lot easier to defend yourself with the nerfs that they've given to hatchet damage and the buffs that they've given to scavs, making them more and more accurate. The other complaint that I got in the last video that I made was the environment was pretty dark. So what I wanted to do in this case was make sure that I brought a flashlight along with us. That way I could highlight things and make it a little bit more readily visible. So I'm going to first load in an offline mode to both highlight the run itself as well as the spawn locations. Okay, so one of the changes that happened in this game with the most recent updates is that you don't get to pick where you spawn anymore. In this case, I spawned right over next to the red warehouse. So I'm going to run myself over to where I prefer to start. I'd prefer to just start at the other end and work my way forward, kind of starting from the most ideal position. So here we are at the starting point. And this is what's called checkpoint. To your left, you'll notice that there's a door and it's locked. This is where the checkpoint key comes into play. Now, the checkpoint key is a random drop from scavs, jackets, and filing cabinets. It also has a static spawn location that I will show you here in a moment. But I at least wanted to show you where we begin. In here, if you notice, in this case, there's an AK that spawned. So after unlocking this door, you want to check this gun rack. And as a reminder, anytime you find a gun in this gun rack, it will be almost always an AK. If you do find a gun, it will almost always be a 74U if you find an AK in one of those gun racks. One of the great things about AKs is that they always come with a full magazine. Additionally, in this room, you'll find a grenade box, one ammo box, and a second ammo box. Now, if you're in the midst of a hardcore challenge run like I am, those ammo boxes are invaluable, so it's good to know where they are. There's also a green box here that will contain possibly a pistol and a lot of small attachments and ammo. If you run up through this door, or through this hole in the wall I should say, and this isn't part of the run, but I want to show you where this key spawn is. If you run up through here, inside of this warehouse, but back here, at the back of this fork truck warehouse, in this bin, is the spawn point for the 110 key. Additionally, next door, so this is what I refer to as the fork truck warehouse, and this warehouse is the glass warehouse because you notice there is walls of latticed glasswork. Inside of the glass warehouse, there are two weapon crate spawns. One here. There's also a key spawn in this location for the factory key. And where this dead scav is on the couch, if you notice, in this case right here, is the checkpoint key. So that is the static location of the checkpoint key. It's pretty common. So this is a good place to look for it, especially if you tend to spawn right here, which is a common spawn location. The second location of the weapons boxes is up here. This is weapon box number 2. Now in any case, any of these weapons boxes have the capability of spawning any of the larger rifles in the game, right up through to the, top tier stuff. This train car here has a common key spawn location for the 220 key, which is commonly located right underneath this pair of pants. Basically, you want to look, search along the mattress on the right side here, and there should be a key spawn that shows right underneath this pair of pants on the ground. Okay, so back to our starting point at checkpoint. You finish looting. From here, once you've looted this, you should have relatively full stamina, depending on where you began. From here, you want to run all the way over to the gas station. Now, if you're just brand new, relatively low level character, don't have a lot of stamina, kind of like mine is at the moment, you'll notice that this run, you tend to run out of stamina pretty quick, so you may have to stop in between to kind of get a breather before you can sprint the rest of the way. Once you get here into this side of the parking lot, what you want to do is run up in this bus and check for a key spawn. There's a key that commonly spawns right here on this chair called the Goshen key. It is for interchange and unlocks the Goshen grocery store's cash registers. Very good key to have, so you always want to check for that. It's also a very valuable key in terms of what you can sell it for on the trade Discord. But as you saw, I came through the gas station. You want to make sure that you close the door behind you. Come across the gas station and into this office. This is where the gas station or cabinet key comes into play. So this cabinet key opens this office where there's rubles on the floor, commonly 1 to 2 spawns of rubles. There's a safe, and there are either 1 to 2 spawn points for items, sometimes pistols, sometimes statues, sometimes tape, random things, sometimes ammo. And underneath the desk, right here in this location, so that's the location for the storage key right here next to this newspaper. That storage room key opens up this storage room closet, which is a good place for medications. The next thing that you want to do is loot these cash registers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 registers. You want to check all 4. By the time that you get done with this portion of the run, you should have somewhere between 30 to 40,000 rubles, along with anything else that may have come out of the safe. Also, every once in a while, there's a weapon spawn here on top of this crate. It can be an AK sometimes, so a good thing to look for. Coming out of the gas station, you want to stop and check this ambulance. Sometimes there's meds on the ground, and in this seat back here, which you'd be able to see from the outside, but right here in this location, right on the edge of the seat, that opens the MES location in the center of the mall on Interchange. Now we're going to take a brief detour from the loot run. We're going to go through this factory checkpoint door. So this is for the factory key, which I already showed you one spawn for it, and I can show you the second main spawn. But we're going to go through this just so that I can show you the shortcut. If you don't have the factory key for that shortcut, what you can do is jump up on top of this car, up on top of these outhouses, and you can hop over the fence. So there's another way through. This key is the pharmacy key. It opens up the pharmacy in front of the Idea store on Interchange. Another good key to have. So to continue with our loot run, we're going to exit the front door of the gas station. We're going to hop over this rail. We're going to run straight between these trees over here, through this hole in the wall, straight up over the railroad tracks, through this second hole, and on over to 2-story. So here at the 2-story dorms, we're going to first open this door right here on the side, close the door behind us, and we're going to open this room first. This is room 105. Now the 105 key is a random drop from scavs, jackets, and filing cabinet drawers as well. But as you can see, there's commonly like a random item or food spawn on the couch, and there's a safe. From here, we're going to leave and run straight around to the front door of the 2-story dorms, because if you notice, there's this large fence in the way, so we have to run around outside. When we come in, as long as you have the key, which is in this case the G-Desk key, you're going to open this door. Inside here, there is a weapons rack, which can again have AKs, a random loot spawn on top of the desk, 1, 2 ammo boxes, and a weapons crate. Down the hall here, there's 3 additional points that we want to look in. First one is this bathroom. Over here on this dead scav will be the G-Desk key. This is where the G-Desk key spawns very rarely. Further down the hall, we have room 114 and room 110. I already showed you where the room 110 key spawn is, so this is another great room. Right here, there's a safe. Additionally, on room 114, we open this room, and again, there's a safe here. One of the things that I did forget to mention, inside this car, a therapist on one of her tasks sends you to look for something in room 114. That key is located in this jacket. There's a 114 key spawn right there. This is also a very good place to find meds. Okay, so now that we have checked both 110 and 114, we're going to run back upstairs, take a left, first door on the right at the end of the hallway. And here we have filing cabinets. Now the thing with filing cabinets is, again, each have their own individual spawns. But it's a real great place for loot, especially keys, Bitcoin, Rolexes. So you want to check all 8 of these, go outside, turn left, and go through this open door on the right. And you'll have 4 more filing cabinets to loot. From here, we want to run downstairs and straight across over to the 3-story dorms. When we enter the 3-story dorms, we want to look left and look through this window and look on that table. So when you look through the window on this table right here in that location, so this is factory key spawn location number 2. There's also a set of filing cabinets here, but I would recommend against looting them because this section of filing cabinets has a real open air vantage point for both players and scavs, and you're very liable to get shot from this spot. The rest of the first floor doesn't really have anything that we want on it, so we go up to 2. On the second floor, we want to go over here and hop this and open 204. And inside 204, there is a gun cabinet that very commonly has a shotgun in it now, thanks to the new patch, and a safe. From here, we want to run down the hall and around the corner and check both 218 and room 220. Now, room 218 commonly has a gun spawn right here on the floor. And room 220, which I currently do not have a key for because I'm in the middle of a task that required me to hand the key in, on the table on the left commonly has another AK possible gun spawn. So that's really it for the second floor. I'm sorry, that's not quite it. The last door that we want to check, as long as you have the key, is 214, which is right here. Which again, I do not have the key for because I'm not on prep or task 8 just yet. But inside 214, there's another safe. The last thing that we want to do is go up to 3, turn right, check room 303. You notice it's hard to see, but there's 303 right there. Located here on the desk, right in front of this stack of candles, is yet another gun spawn. And then lastly, for this building, down here on the right, where all these marks are, is the marked room. Now this uses the marked room key, which again is a random drop from scavs, jackets, and filing cabinets. But anyway, this is the marked room. If you notice, there's a circle here. There are 1 to 2 spawns, most commonly 2, of any item in the game, from complete crap all the way up through to more advanced weaponry like DVLs, M4s, etc. If you notice, in this case, there just seems to be one little piece of ammunition that spawned here. But usually there tends to be larger guns, or even nicer to find things like key bars and docs cases. So that's it for the 3rd story. If I'm running toward the customs office for my extract, I prefer to leave through this 3rd floor door, come down, and down this way. And then from here, we're going to run all the way over to the customs warehouse. Real quick note, if you notice right here, you can see smoke. If you spawn over on the oil tank side, where we just came from of the map, one of your potential extraction points is this campfire. They call it Smuggler's Boat, because if you notice, there's a boat right here. So if you wanted to, you could go up to this fire and extract, as long as it's there, because it's not always. But you want to run out across the junk bridge. Now my personal recommendation in this case would be, rather than running straight up the hill, you would turn left. And in doing so, you run under this bridge, up through this section here, turn left. And when you get to this spot, it looks like there's really nothing here. But if you go through this little gap in the wall, you go through what they call the crack. So you go through the crack, turn left, and run down to the end of the train tracks. Now, the reason why we do this is because it tends to streamline the run, and we also get a vantage point on another loot location that we may or may not want to pursue once we get to this point, if we're still alive. So from here, you want to go into this blue trailer and loot these 4 filing cabinet locations, possibly this duffel bag, and possibly these 2 jackets. From here, you want to come across the courtyard over to where this crate is, this big shipping crate in the middle. And from here, right about here, you want to be able to look up in there. Now if you notice, this door right here is white. You can see the doorway, you can see the light on top, and you notice that it looks white. If it's white, if it's closed, then you want to run in and go and check it. In this case, obviously it will be locked. So you want to unlock, open it, and go in. Now conversely, if you're running across and you get to about here, and you look up in there and you notice that the door is not white, it's brown. If that's the case, then obviously you do not want to go in. So, to make this look a little bit more fluid, you want to run across, look up in there, see if the door is open. If it's not open, then you go in. If it's open, you keep continuing on in this direction, heading to the other side of that truck. But in this case, it was closed and it was locked. So we're going to go in and we're going to breach this door. This door can only be breached. So in here, there's a safe. There's also a potential spawn on the ground here. There's also a potential spawn on the cabinets back here. Or on the shelves, I should say. There's also a jacket spawn. There is a key that potentially spawns right here on the desk. And for people on the quest, on the task, there is a documents case that spawns right here underneath the desk if you're looking where the laser's going. Also, in this room next door, there most commonly is a P.A.C.A that spawns here on the chair. There's this duffel, and there are 1, 2, 3 computers that may or may not have a flash drive sticking out the front of one of these USB ports on the front of the PC tower. If you did loot this, you want to run out this set of doors over by the forklifts. So either you're going to be running across here out in front, or you're going to be running through here. But either way, you want to run over on the other side of these trucks and into this other blue trailer. and you want to loot these 4 filing cabinets. Now that you've completed the entire loot run, you want to open this door, turn left, and run all the way down to the end of this street where your extraction would be, over here at this wall. Okay, now that that's completed, I'm going to exit. I'm going to load the game in on live, and we're going to make a few runs and see how we do. Okay, so in this case I spawn next to the red warehouse, but there's a high likelihood I'm going to get caught. So I'm going to run over to the dorms in hopes that I don't die. Because I'm so far away, to conserve the value of the items that I have, I'm going to place the pistol and the extra mag in my gaming container until I actually make it to where I want to get to. There's a scav that commonly spawns in this area, so I'll make sure we check left and right before we move. And also to the right here. Since I am where I am, I'm going to go right up to 3-story and hope that I'm the first one here. We're going to hit the marked room first because it's the most lucrative spawn point. Oh, in this case, we got an ammo case. And that we're going to put right into our gamma. It's a fantastic find. Since we're on the 3rd floor, we're going to check 303. And a factory key. This is an incredibly lucrative loot run so far. Dodging scavs. Still. Now, unfortunately, the one thing with where we're located is they'll shoot right through the window.
А вот тут, друган мой, бывал точно. Вон он!
This is an additional ammo spawn. Okay, there's run number 1. Just make a line. Everything below this SV98 will be everything that I looted. Okay, so we got a pretty ideal spawn. Just have to worry about whether or not there's somebody at the checkpoint. And there very well could be, and we very well could die. Does not look like there's anybody here as of yet. I'm not going to bother checking for ammo. No grenades. Moving on. In this case, I tend to stay toward the back wall until I get over to this break in the fence. And then we run around to the front. Do the smaller break. Not going to bother checking for the Goshen key at the moment. Really just want to focus on the registers. Obviously, if you get something like the Goshen key, it tips the scales considerably because on the trade Discord, it's, you know, a couple 100,000 rubles. We got to empty the ruble count out. That's pretty safe. Metabolism. It's important. No MES key there. Oh, looks like somebody's already in here. There they were. Looks like he actually wears a sweatband when he streams. Awesome. Got the same spawn as run 1, so same kind of thing. Roughly the same spawn as spawn 1. We were about 10 seconds behind everybody else on the map though, so we could be set back a little bit.
scav down.
Okay. 415, 497. We started at 415. Okay. And run 4. Halfway decent spawn, but we're gonna run around the backside. Go up through the shortcut. So that was 4 runs in about 35 minutes. Now, some of this kind of got extended because, as you saw in the most recent fights, some of that got a bit hairy, right? And it was a lot of fun. We almost got out with a whole lot of stuff. But as it stands right now, if we were to part all of this out, we have over a couple 100,000 rubles just between the rubles, the euros, and the USD that we got today in that half hour or so, along with all of this ammo. The ammo case, which does have some value, the rig, the weapons that we were able to get out with, the dog tags themselves. So we have a level 30 dog tag here, a level 30 dog tag here. So there's, you know, easily a couple 100,000 rubles just here in what we have. Not to mention that we did get, in addition to that, a factory key, which still holds a few 100,000 rubles in value that we could very, very easily resell, again, on the trade Discord or on the trade Reddit. So for all of this, I think it's very, very reasonable to assume that you could quite easily earn 750,000 rubles worth of stuff in about an hour. And if you're well practiced, like I am a little bit with a handgun, you know, killing a scav, getting a relatively halfway decent weapon, and then turning that into opportunity throughout your hatchet run or pistol run, can obviously serve to be an extremely lucrative thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the guide. Sorry I had to do this in 2 different parts, but the original footage that I had shot for my original run got errored out and deleted on accident by OBS. So it is what it is. But the reproduction, obviously, this is repeatable. The first time around, I estimated it was going to be between 700,000 and 800,000, and this time around, again, it looks like it would be 700,000 to 800,000 inside of an hour. I think you could very easily do 750,000 rubles in an hour, just based on the weapon spawns and what it is that you can find along the way, as long as you keep your eyes open and you realize that there's other resources than just selling things back to traders in order to be able to earn some funds. So again, hop inside the Discord, say hi to me, say hi to Paul. You can also find me on my personal Discord, which I will put a link to not only in the video, but also I'll post it here as a pop-up somewhere around in here for you guys to come and say hi. And I hope you join the community. I look forward to seeing you guys, and we'll see you in the raids. Okay, thanks guys, enjoy.